Smack talking raw, where the legends live and the rookies get schooled in law. This ain't just talk. This is smack talking raw. You ready, Pinky? Judge always Ron. Let's lay the smack down. Boom.
Welcome to another episode of Smack Talking Raw. I'm your boy Pinky, and we've got Ron Stradamus in the house back again after his wonderful weekend. Welcome back, my friend. I am glad you had a hell of a weekend. Well deserved. Congrats to your daughter on her graduation.
Man, having a child that's graduated college is absolutely extraordinary. I just love her. And for her graduation gift, which she'll get on Saturday at her graduation party, I got her an authentic WWE belt with the CU Boulder logo on it. It has her name, her years of school, and her entire degree around all of the nameplates. So it's personalized 100%, and there's nothing else that her dad would do. And that's the bottom line, because Ron Stradamus said so. Good job, baby.
I'm excited to see what her reaction is to that, because I think that will be just amazing. It's something that it's something she can always display at all times. Of like, look at this. It's about her and your guys' relationship. It's beautiful, man. So I can't wait to see her reaction.
Man, I can't wait to see it either. And then all of a sudden she's gonna be like, "This sucks. I was expecting to get cash." By the way, we have the number one song on podcast. If you're not listening to that, I got some words to talk to you about later, but our intro is legit, Pinky. Good job.
You know, it's computers can do amazing things, my friend. Oh, AI is pretty special. All right, well, we've got a lot to chop it up tonight. We've got a great show ahead of us. I know you had some topics you wanted to start off firing again. So tell the people what's on your mind.
All right. So I'm a longtime wrestling fan. I've loved it. My first thing that I ever watched on WWE programming was Piper's Pit, when Roddy Piper hit the coconut upside Jimmy Superfly Snuka and then proceeded to knock him through the set and everything like that. That was the first thing I ever watched in WWE programming. And all the while along the last 41 years of just watching professional wrestling, it's had its great times, it's had its bad times, it's had its dull times, etc. And right now we are just in a lull right now, in a time where the anticipation was so big, Pinky, moving to the Netflix era, not being so censored, not being so controlled by the normal channel programming of USA, etc. We are in a programming time in our lives to where there's something missing. And that thing I think that's missing is called Vincent Kennedy McMahon, because that dude had an idea about wrestling that I don't think as easy as Triple H has picked up on it, because he's one of the greatest of all time. And he has the pedigree of being able to take WWE programming to the next level. It is super duper flat under the TKO realm. And I judge that those two things combined right now, of Triple H trying to not be in the shadow of Vince McMahon, in addition to TKO not really understanding the brand of WWE, has caused a disconnect from the fans. They're trying to entertain what gets them money on the books as opposed to what gets butts in the seats. And that distinction right there is that pretty soon, if the product doesn't start to improve significantly, you're going to start to see people not to show up. And there are other alternatives out there to watch on TV that are putting on great programming right now. They just don't have as good a programming with regards to having USA, Netflix, and all that sort of stuff at their helm right now. But there's alternatives now, and the WWE better be really careful about not losing market share to somebody that's in the wings waiting for them to drop the ball.
I mean, I think a lot of it has to do to the TKO, the stock prices, the getting, what's good for business, right? What's always good for business. Sometimes what's good for business isn't what's great for the sport or great for, again, my wife laughs at me. I've probably become more into wrestling over the last few years as I'm a, 40-year-old adult with 4 kids, adult kids. And it just gives me something to do. I watch my stories, as she calls them. Those are my stories. And
right.
I feel like there's just not enough of those going on. The storytelling is bland. I kind of feel like the product in the ring, to me, is still enjoyable. Most of the matches are good. The moves, the athleticism, what we see inside the ring, to me, is still a pretty good product. But how they're putting the storylines together, how they're like showing, like, I feel like a lot of it's rushed, or we don't really flesh it out much. It's just there's something missing to we're not getting attached to specific feuds and storylines. And I think
go ahead.
I was going to say, and I think that was something that Vince McMahon, he was a master at that. And I don't know why Triple H, I know he's still, he'll never have the experience that Vince McMahon had. Vince McMahon had been doing it for decades. He's he's the godfather of everything. But Triple H has got a lot to learn.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm paying attention to right now is the character development. If you're really looking at WWE programming, the people that are on TV the most right now are greater than 37 years old on television. And so that means they're not creating new stars in the main event realm of WWE. So, like, I'll give you a couple of examples. You got Montez Ford, who is an absolute mega superstar. When have you ever heard of him being considered for a shot at even the Intercontinental or U.S. Heavyweight Championship? Never. World title. I mean, he's a candidate for all of those belts. What are you going to do? Wait till he's 40 to give him a shot to shine? That's the same thing they did to Shelton Benjamin. That's the same thing they did to Cedric Alexander. That's the same thing they did to Bobby Lashley. That's the same thing that they did, and I could go down the line. That's the same thing they're doing to Karrion Kross. That's the same thing that they're doing to all these athletes that are young kids that they haven't character developed them. When Razor Ramon came into WWE back in the early 1990s, late 80s, 1990s, when he came in with "I'm the bad guy," they did these things called vignettes where he came out and he's on the street of Miami and he was talking, "Hey, Chico." And then he was out there and he was punking people in the streets, and you kind of got to look forward to this dude, the bad guy. And you got a chance to develop a rapport with them. Now, all of a sudden, Aleister Black just shows up in the ring. And yeah, there's a lot of us that remember him because he's been through our channel before. But wouldn't it have been so much cooler if it's like, hey, in the next few weeks, I'm going to be coming back to claim the blackness that I left behind. I'm going to make the dark, and then have him get some vignettes to make you feel like he's important. What happens is Carmelo Hayes, he's the former NXT champion. He's a jobber on SmackDown. He's really not gotten, nobody ever brought, he came in one day and they're like, here's Carmelo Hayes. And he came into a lukewarm meeting because nobody knew who he was. Hey, I'm a 2-time defending NXT champion. I'm coming to claim WWE gold now. It'd have been real easy to get him upper echelon pretty quick, or at least middle echelon, to where he's not eating a lot of losses along the way. What do you think, Biggie?
Yeah, I mean, and I think Carmelo Hayes is probably going down the same path as Montez Ford, and before we know it, Carmelo Hayes will be doing some tag team stuff, and or he'll be kind of mid card for his career. They're kind of ruining him. It's kind of like I see, and I know he's getting run as a tag team guy. I think Nathan Frazier as a guy that's just finally kind of coming up. His matches are fantastic. And they've got him, they've got him as part of Fraxium, which is great and fun. But I feel like he can do a lot on his own. Like I don't feel like he really needs to be on that tag title, watch. Right now, if you get put into that tag title, circuit, your singles days are probably done.
Right.
Like it's almost like a death sentence. I'm worried for Penta. I love Penta. You know me and Penta, we are there. And I think Ray Phoenix is fantastic too. But I feel like having them on Raw, like Penta on Raw, Phoenix on SmackDown, you keep them separated. They're building their own singles history, building up. And the rumors are there. They're gonna put the Lucha Brothers together. Once they do that, man, that Penta's world title hopes are done. He'll probably win tag title, but becoming a major player will be done. Like I don't know. I don't see it happening. It's kind of like it'll be like the rise of like Mysterio. Mysterio went up the ranks, and then he got caught in the he got his championship run. Then he went back into tag teams, and then he went into mid card, and then he's just kind of been a guy. He's just another guy.
Just a dude, right?
So,
and one of the things that was really successful in Vince McMahon's WWF back in the day was the tag team brand. I mean, you had the British Bulldogs, you had the Hart Foundation, Demolition, the Killer Bees, all these different teams, not people that were put together because they weren't up to something or doing something. And that's something that's really missing in the mid card to the lower level cards, is having tag teams get out there and really getting out there and show their wares, that they have their moves choreographed and they can do their things and they have their own battles with each other. And then you have the Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, where it's finally time for one of them to bust out. And then it's like, okay, that's cool. But they were a tag team for a long time. So you develop some chemistry with them. So you love them, but you put people that have no chemistry together and say, hey, you're sitting over there in the bathroom picking your nose, and you're up there, you Rudy Poo, you two to get together and now go over there, and now you're the tag team champions, and everybody's lukewarm about them. They haven't seen them progress to get to that part to where they're special, and I'm seeing it. And go ahead.
I was gonna say, I don't mind those occasions where you get like The Rock and Mick Foley, or you get those kind of weird, like that tag team doesn't make sense, but they're so much fun together. It's a good story. That's okay, but yeah, man, almost making me sad now, Ron. Almost making me sad.
Yeah, I just want wrestling fans to really understand what professional wrestling is, because once upon a time, you could turn on Crockett at 3:05 in the afternoon time on Saturday afternoons. You could watch Monday Superstars at 9 a.m., WWE on Saturday morning. Then they invented Raw at 6 o'clock in the afternoon time on Monday nights on USA, etc. And what's happened is we've gotten into such a corporateness of the product right now that it's just like, for example, we'll go real quick to just taking a look at Monday Night Raw real quick, right? We'll just take a minute to look at it. We had, starting off on Monday Night Raw, we had CM Punk come through the curtain, and he goes to the ring, and he's giving his promo about, what he's pissed off about with Paul Heyman and all this stuff. And all of a sudden, Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker and Paul Heyman came out, right? And that's cool, because Paul Heyman and CM Punk have issues. Seth Rollins and CM Punk have issues. Braun Breaker is there to settle any issues anybody has. Perfect lineup, right? They come down, they're stomping CM Punk and everything like that. Who comes down to the ring? Sami Zayn to make the save. That doesn't make sense to me entirely, because Sami Zayn, although he's saying that he's cool with CM Punk, the story is that he was never quite sure about CM Punk. He was telling said Seth Rollins that he didn't want he wanted somebody to help him to beat CM Punk and all this sort of stuff. That's the story that we were told. So that's the story.
I'm starting to think, though, with that. So Sammy, to me, makes sense, because I feel like he's the third guy. because they already had Seth Rollins try to bring him in. He rejects Seth Rollins. Now this whole thing, I kind of feel like Sammy's the third guy in the new faction. So I kind of feel like he makes sense. The next part where Jey Uso comes down, that to me doesn't make sense.
Right. That's what I was getting to, is that all three of the story has to make sense, because otherwise, as a person that's been a wrestling fan for a long time, I'm like, all right, cool. Because the thing that makes people tune in, and I'll go back to my reference to Roddy Piper smashing the coconut over Jimmy Superfly Snuka's head, is that when I saw that, I wanted to see what was going to happen next on the show. Like, how are they going to follow that up? Right? Like, that was incredible. I'm hooked. What's hooking me about Sami Zayn saving CM Punk from Seth Rollins stomping him? Why didn't they just let Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker stomp CM Punk out to where they had to like wheel him out or whatever the case may be? Let it marinate for a little bit. Stop being so instant gratuitous to try to give us what the story, the angle is. It's being written too much in the stories in the office as opposed to in the ring. Let the ring tell the story. Let CM Punk get stomped. He just got back. Let him be out for a couple more weeks. Then all of a sudden CM Punk comes back. Then Sami Zayn comes out after he's got some friction going on with Seth and Braun for a little bit. Now it makes sense for them to kind of combine together to say, wow, wait a minute. Now these two that were enemies, it makes sense. And Jey Uso, I don't know where he fits in that. Like, I just don't know.
Right. He's got more things to worry. Well, I mean, and I like, at least I did like that there was a championship match between Rollins and Jey. So, like, again, there's something there, and Seth Rollins is wanting to take the championship to bring legitimacy to this new world order that he's trying to do. Right. I can see some of those breadcrumbs, but it's not completely fleshed out. And again, I feel like they just need to get back to basics, almost like basic storytelling. Like you said, there's a bunch of dudes in the room. I don't know who the writers are. I don't know if they're guys who have never wrestled or if they're just, again, they're just writers. Do they know these characters? Do they know the fans? Do they know what the fans are looking for? There's no telling, man. I'm concerned about. I am concerned. I'm concerned a lot about the other kind of part to this is, I know you and I want to go to WrestleMania next year. We might be like hitting cheap seats, like as far back as we can get, like day of, because those prices when they come out are just through the roof for these SummerSlam tickets are just disgusting right now.
What are they going for? Because I don't even have that on my radar. What are they going for?
They're like a G.
Oh my gosh!
Well, I think you can find a couple for like 500. But I'm gonna be honest, like if I'm paying 500 to a G for nosebleeds that are so far away, I gotta watch the event on my phone, then it's not really worth spending that money. Besides the fact of just saying, hey, I was there. Like I'll say, hey Ron, let's go down there. Let's go to the WWE world. Let's go meet a couple of the guys, get some autographs, have some fun. We'll spend some time partying in the city, and then we'll just watch it at the hotel or something. Like,
yeah, let's go pull it up on TV at the hotel. Yeah.
So that's the state of WWE right now. They're going to outprice a lot of the hardcore fans, which is unfortunate. I see a lot of that happen. There's a lot of that on Twitter or wherever you get your wrestling news. There's a lot of that sentiment out there right now.
Yeah, like for myself, going to WrestleMania 40, my ticket for all things combined, it was about almost $4,000 for both nights of WrestleMania. So that was $2,250, and then flight over there and back, and then food, hotel accommodations, and everything like that. It was like $4,000.
Which is that's to be expected. That's okay. Like when you're talking the whole trip, that's okay. Yeah. But when you're spending almost $1,000 or more on your ticket, and then everything else included, that's tough for the average working man to afford. All right. So
yeah, so we're getting ready to break the walls down, ladies and gentlemen, because as you're watching this program, we're not playing no favorites. And Vince McMahon, I know he's got other issues going on and everything like that, as far as like his court case and and he's not a very ethical human being when it comes to that and everything like that. By no means am I glorifying Vince McMahon to be like he's a saint, but what he did understand about this product, from taking it from where it was a regional program, taking it to a national program, to a global enterprise, is he understood how to level up. And right now we've gone from a global product to a meh product, right? Like they're selling tickets and they're doing all the things that sell tickets, but at the end of the day, the product is not extraordinary. And it should be at this point. We have a huge roster of people that are loving WWE product. The girls are getting ready to be fantastic, as a matter of fact. I mean, with the old regime of Becky and Natalia and those kind of girls, along with Rhea and Io and Bianca and all those girls, and the new girls, Stephanie Vakir.
Oh, Stephanie is going to take the world over. I think Roxanne, Julia, and Stephanie will all be women's world champion at some point in time.
Yes, and fighting over it repeatedly. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, those girls are amazing. Well, let's talk a little bit about those girls. I will say probably my favorite current story that's going on, and they rushed a lot for Backlash. And again, I understand it makes sense. WrestleMania was so late into April that really you had WrestleMania and then you only had 3 weeks to build anything for Backlash. When Backlash is, and again, maybe this is a part of Triple H failing again. Backlash is supposed to be a continuation of WrestleMania. There was none of that. Everything was new. Everything was different. And that's why everything felt so rushed, because like you didn't do any continuation of WrestleMania. You went to completely different stories. But the story I'm most excited about right now is the girls from NXT coming over. Roxanne Perez and Julia, they've been in a feud with Rio and Io Sky, and it has been awesome. The matches have been great. The shit talking's been great. It's awesome. I know I'm confident Julia is no longer on any NXT promo stuff. So it looks like she's pretty much full-time roster now. And then I think Roxanne has been removed as well. So super excited for this. I think their characters are great. And what they do in the ring is, I mean, they're just damn good, man. Like they no more NXT for them. They're up to the big boys table now. So big girls table.
Yeah, and you know, some of the people that they let go, man, it's like you know, Kaden Carter and the other girl, they've destroyed the women's tag team championships.
Cora Jade.
Yeah, they've destroyed the tag team. Like everybody's being put together. Like, again, you're not doing anything. You're not doing anything. Why don't you guys fight for the tag team titles? Okay, at least we're doing something. And then they're champs for a couple weeks, and then somebody else comes in. They've somehow developed this feud. The
tag team right now is pretty much non-existent now that Liv is over in Japan filming a movie. So Raquel's still walking around. She showed up at Raw this week. She didn't do anything, but she was there. She had her belt and everything. But there's no women's tag team wrestling really. You know, because the tag team matches that we've been getting are some type of feud, not actually tag teams that are going to be going towards the belt. So, because I think the other tag team match we got on SmackDown was Chelsea Green and Piper Niven versus Selena Vega and Alexa Bliss. That has nothing to do with the tag teams. That was just a match they put together. Because Chelsea Green is feuding with Zelina, who stole her title, right?
Right.
So that has nothing to do with the tag teams. The women's tag team right now is like, and is there maybe this is just me not knowing. Is there separate SmackDown and Raw women's tag teams, or is it just one?
No, just one.
Okay, because like to me that I guess that makes sense if you want Liv and Raquel on both, so you can get them on Raw and you can get them on SmackDown. That's cool, but to me that doesn't make any sense if you have separate. And I know for a long time the women's just added the U.S. title and they just added the Intercontinental title. To me, it makes sense to add a SmackDown women's title, so then you've got that. But if you're not doing anything with women's tag team wrestling, I guess it doesn't really matter, right?
Man, you got to introduce tag teams, right? You people that come in and that they're going to be tag teams for the next 3 to 5 years, like so that people care about them. Like I can't say it enough. Back in the day, you had the British Bulldogs and the Hart Foundation. You had the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors.
We got spoiled, and because we lived in a time where we had three of the best tag teams of all time at the same time with the Dudleys, Edge and Christian, and the Hardy Boys, and they gave us fantastic matches every time they got together. We were really spoiled by that. And I think, I think they do have. I know the SmackDown tag team guys are actually really fun. Those guys are really good. The Raw ones, Okay.
Yeah, you got the War Raiders, the Creed Brothers. You have New Day. You have
there's three of them really. It's New Day, Creed Brothers. I guess you got War Raiders, and I think there's is there a Lucha group that wrestles on Raw? There's very limited. Very limited on the Monday Night Raw.
Again, Triple H, if you're listening to this, TKO, if you're listening to this, there's way to make this product so much better. It doesn't have to be that it has to be everything around Johncena. We want to get ourselves into a position, and Johncena is 48 years old. It's like when Hulk Hogan came back to wrestling at 48 years of old, we were like, damn, Hogan's old. Well, guess what we're saying about Johncena? Damn, John Cena's old. He's slow.
What's crazy is when I rewatch Hulk Hogan matches, when he was 34 and when he was 48, they look the same. He's moving at the same speed almost. Like it was still kind of slow, methodical, more of a brawler. But yeah, it's a night and day difference when you watch John when he runs to the turn or runs to the rope to get a launch off the rope. He makes me feel like I could get in there and give you at least a couple minutes. Okay,
right.
I'm 45. Right. I feel like I might be the way he looks. I feel like I could give you a couple minutes, not 20 or 30, but I could get in there.
Randy Orton putting him through a table. I felt like he was trying to put him to bed as opposed to putting him in the table. If you look at that table spot.
Oh, that was good. That was good. Let's talk about that for a moment. Now we kind of switch gears a little bit. Give me your thoughts on that match, and I'll kind of give you mine. What were you thinking on that?
I'm thinking, Johncena and Randy Orton, you've got to combine 31 titles between the two of them as a world heavyweight champion. They've wrestled each other countless number of times on pay-per-views. And I thought that it being the last match between those two, that this would be the one that they would actually just go all in. Like John would go all in, Randy would go all in. And it just, it was really a protect John fest. That's what I was more taking it over, is that there are two former great wrestlers. I still think Randy has something in the tank. Randy took real care of John, but for it being their final match of all time, it was very meh, in my opinion.
So I did think their lead up was pretty good, only having 3 weeks. I thought they did a pretty good job. I liked a lot of the promos that they did together. I like the reverse, right? We've got Randy being the good guy, trying to save wrestling for the people. You've got John Cena being the bad guy, trying to ruin wrestling for the people. I enjoyed that. The match itself, what I really enjoyed about the match is I felt like it did actually have a story to it. It had 3 acts to it. And then you're absolutely correct, Ron. Randy's got some stuff in the tank. As long as injuries don't take him again, he's got some more in the tank. He said 5 to 10 years. 5.
Wow.
I would say 5.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll hold up 10, but 5 would be all right. He looked really good. You could tell that he was helping Cena a lot, like you said, protecting him. And one of the things that I really took, I was listening for the crowd. The crowd was into it. If the crowd is into it and they're feeling it, then I think the guys in the ring are doing a good job. because they're getting the emotion out of the crowd. So that's why I think this was actually, 7. It's not amazing by any means, but I felt like we got what we needed from a Randy and John match. Could be the last ever. Maybe they come back to it later, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I took it for what it was worth. After watching John against Cody, like physically, I wasn't expecting a lot. I actually thought John did better in this match. I thought this was more enjoyable to me than the Cody match, in my opinion. And then having Ron come in, R-Truth come in, made so much sense because for the last like 2 SmackDowns, R-Truth had been out there, let's go Cena, like having a good time. So to have him come in and mess things up makes complete sense. Having Randy Orton go apeshit and RKO everybody makes sense with his character, right? So again, I felt like it was really good. To me, it was just entertaining. Definitely not going to, I think at the end of the day, we'll just remember what a great rivalry Orton and Cena was. We may not actually remember the match that they had.
Well, I'm going to tell you like this. It's a placement, right? Product placement. So John Cena versus Randy Orton is an epic match. Have that at SummerSlam. So it blurs the lines of like, is Randy going to be the one that saves wrestling from John Cena? You don't have him on Backlash with 3 weeks as the buildup. Maybe you have R-Truth at WrestleMania. Hey, John, good job. We did it. And then Cena does the thing, and 3 weeks later, he's fighting R-Truth for the title at Backlash. Right? Maybe that makes better product.
Ron,
placement.
I'm going to say this right now, bro. We need to get you out of mortgages and get you into writing wrestling. We got to do this. No more loans for you. Let's just go right. We're gonna get you into the writing room of WWE. Let's make this happen. Who do I got to call? Stephanie? I got to call Triple H? Who I got to call? Let's make it happen.
If you call either one of them and get them on the line, I'm taking your call immediately, bro. You ain't got to say not a word. Man, that just makes sense, bro. Have R-Truth come in at WrestleMania. John, you did it, bro. I can't believe. I know some of them hate you and everything like that. And then John Cena takes a look at him, drops him on the thing, and then all of a sudden the next 3 weeks is a build-up to a match between Art. Nothing's expected of that match at Backlash except for comedy.
Man, when you are right, Ron. Like that makes a lot of sense. That would have been great because if we had that, we have this moment. We had those 3 weeks. We got this moment, and then it's on to the next. Because that's what we're at. We're going on to Money on the Bank, right?
So then we have 7 weeks to write Money in the Bank because we just have a filler. If it's going to be a filler, let it be a filler. But now you're trying to put Backlash to be a significant thing with an important angle in wrestling history. Randy Orton versus John Cena, their last match. Why not do that at SummerSlam when it's got something at stake?
Oh, dude, it's SummerSlam, the main event, night 2, since now it's a 2-day event. Like, yeah, that would have been awesome. Definitely agree on that one. Would have been amazing. So it's unfortunate on that one. I think we'll, and I think that's probably my next question for you. Who are the next lot? Like, we've only got, I think it's 25 more appearances from John. I think maybe it's less than that at this point. I know he's only wrestling at PLEs. That they've made that pretty apparent. So there's only going to be probably 5 more matches left. I think I've heard rumors his last match will be in December on a Saturday night main event, like right before the end of the year. So we'll have that. Other than that, he's going to be like mainly at PLEs wrestling, and he'll show up at other events, but only wrestling. Besides CM Punk, I mean, to me that's obvious. They've got a pretty good rivalry. I believe that's what we're going to get at SummerSlam is CM Punk and Cena. Who are his other opponents? Like who else is going to face him at this point?
I think that you could have an argument for, even though they didn't know each other very well during his time there, but I think you have an argument to say that Drew McIntyre could be a person inside of the mix with him. Roman Reigns is another person that I could see having a stake at the title. Cody Rhodes is another person that I can see coming back for redemption towards the end of the year. And then you can flip a coin on a couple of other people. You could flip a coin on Gunther, being a person that could be a person that fights against him. In that realm, those are the 5 that I would say that would have the best shot.
So I actually didn't think about Drew, but Drew has said a lot of stuff about Cena, and he's been around for a little while, so that actually makes a lot of sense. A Drew McIntyre Cena match in rivalry for a little bit. That actually is a really great idea. When it comes to Roman or Gunther, like to me, like it can make sense from the title picture, because again, those are main eventers. But then, like, I just think about those guys' athleticism. They would make I feel like they'd make John look really bad. Like they would over accentuate how kind of slow and old John is at this point. So I don't know if that would look great. And again, I don't know if they. I guess if you have enough lead up time and they can do some practice, they do some practice behind the wings to, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to take it to the outside and brawl for a little bit out there. Just like what they did for The Rock, because, The Rock doesn't look great in the ring anymore either. But there's things that you can do to at least make it look like they're still having a match, right?
So if I was going to go with 2 people that I've taken off the list just because they're out of WWE right now, to make wrestling history, I would choose Brock Lesnar and I would choose The Rock to be 2 people that fought against, because Brock Lesnar suplexed Johncena 16 times at SummerSlam about a decade ago, and that would be a cool obstacle for John to overcome, which would ultimately turn him good guy at some point in time, because people would see John Cena overcoming the Beast, and there would be this, wow, John Cena still got it a little bit, and that would turn him face a little bit. And then The Rock would be the person that he would fight last, and that would be like the Brock Lesnar Rock send-off for John Cena, in my opinion. That would be the best way to finish it out.
Well, I think if you have Cena lose the belt and then be a face and then face Rock, and Rock's the final boss and he's that guy, I think that makes a lot of sense. I just don't think The Rock gives a shit anymore to do in the ring. I think maybe with some desperation we get Roman and Rock at some point, because that's a match everybody wants to see. But I don't think we see him in the ring unless it's Roman. That's the only way I think we see The Rock back is Roman. But those would be guys that would be worth it. I just don't know who else makes sense for Cena to wrestle. CM Punk, and I guess Drew would be great. I think actually our Truth idea would have been great. We could have done our Truth at Backlash. Then you can have him feuding with Randy Orton at Money in the Bank. They don't wrestle, and then boom, you lead that into SummerSlam.
Right. And then you have CM Punk come in and he challenges him at Survivor Series. And then there's so much that Triple H and TKO could have done with regards to booking this properly, because one of the things that happens inside of wrestling is back in the day. So I'm going to take you back to 1985.
Ooh, buddy.
Yeah, 1985. I think you were really wet behind the ears at that time.
I was
sir.
5 years old. I was a fat little blonde, blue-eyed kid in Germany at that time.
Dos Bidones, right? Is that how you say it? So in 1985, they had the 2 best tag teams in the world interrupted by the 3rd best tag team in the world, and that was the Midnight Express and the Rock and Roll Express. And all of a sudden, the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors, won the titles from the Russians. So the Midnight Express and the Rock and Roll Express were both trying to take out the Road Warriors so much that they made this thing called the Night of the Skywalkers, to where they fought on the scaffold match. And the winner was the team that threw the other team off the scaffold. Watch
Ooh.
that match. That match, you can watch it on YouTube. That match was incredible. The Night of the Skywalkers. They're on the top of this scaffolding match, and you could tell all of them were scared shitless on the top of this scaffold. Like, okay, we built this thing. We're on top of it. For real? Right? But my point is that when you're building a story, the layers that you're building behind the story have to make sense. And right now, WWE has booked themselves into a creative nightmare because Johncena being the champion, the crowd is like trying to get behind him, and he's supposed to be a bad guy. And now we have this tweener Johncena when he was supposed to be a bad guy. Because going back to the Royal Rumble, when Jey Uso threw Johncena off the ropes, what Johncena should have done if there was going to be no Rock is eliminate Jey Uso from being a championship contender at WrestleMania. That draws heat on Johncena because people love the yeet movement. So you get real heat on John going into WrestleMania, and everybody hates John. He's fighting against Cody Rhodes. He goes in there, and people are legitimately booing Johncena. You have Jey Uso come out and help Cody Rhodes win the title somehow, which tightens up the bloodline and the Cody Rhodes feud. Later on, Jey Uso is the one that beats Johncena for the title for his first World Heavyweight title down the line. It tells a complete year story. The problem is that everybody wants that instant gratification thing. We got the yeet movement. The yeet movement is hot right now. We got to capitalize on that. Honestly, as a champion, Jey Uso right now, you look like an Intercontinental Championship trying to run the program, and it's terrible. Jey Uso's not ready to be the World Heavyweight Champion. I feel like I could go out there and within 5 minutes be the new World Heavyweight Champion. Everybody be like, "Who's this guy? 53 years old, just got out of having a kidney transplant. What the hell is happening?" Right?
Yeah, and I like Jey a lot. I enjoy his matches, but yeah, he feels it, and again, to me, there's nothing wrong with a guy who's intercontinental champion multiple times, US champion. Like, he's there, right? He like, you don't always have to move those guys up to the big dogs. You got to get them up there every once in a while, fighting the big dogs, but it's okay to be on that second tier. And I think he fits in great with that second tier. He's perfect for there. With the World Heavyweight title, it's kind of like there's already a lot of like rumors and like, who's going to take the belt from Jey Uso? They're already counting down. Like, who's going to do it? Who's going to beat him for the belt? Versus like just letting it go. Like, to me, I think a lot of people know he's probably not quite the heavyweight championship quality. So.
Right. I mean, you got him fighting Logan Paul. You got him with Gunther in the background and everything like that. What would be a really cool match is if somehow Logan Paul beat Jey Uso, and then you have Logan Paul versus Gunther in a first time ever championship match. That would be a cool match.
So, well, that is one of the things that's already been played. It's Logan Paul and Jey Uso at Saturday Night Main Event here at the end of the month, and when they're in Tampa, and then you have Gunther versus the winner of that on Raw the following week, I believe.
Yeah, that's what I was alluding to is that combination. Those two matches are really important for the trajectory of the World Heavyweight title, because you look at what Seth Rollins did with the belt. When Seth Rollins was the champion, he was a good champion as the World Heavyweight champion.
Absolutely.
Drew McIntyre, he had the title for 5 minutes. Damian Priest, he held the title pretty well for being a first-time heavyweight champion.
He had it for a couple months, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he didn't keep it long, but he had it for a couple months, and he did good.
And then you had Gunther that had the title for 280 some odd days. That was cool. The way he lost it was stupid. And now we have Jey Uso, the 5th ever World Heavyweight Champion. I don't see him being champion for very long, or I see him being champion for a minute. It's one of those things. Right now, the yeet is really hot and heavy. So that's what TKO wants, is they want people to be behind product on the brand.
Yeah, what's crazy is like I feel like he doesn't even need to have a title on him to be getting the yeet and getting the crowd going. Like he had that happening before he had the title. It hasn't changed. He still gets a great crowd reaction regardless. The title's not helping him at this point. Like it's not. Right. He didn't need it to continue to be popular with the fans.
Now, the only thing I'm thinking about is that maybe everybody inside of the bloodline gets a title shot opportunity and gets a title. Like Jay could end up feuding with Jimmy again at some point in time, and then Jimmy gets a title, and then Sammy gets a title, so that everybody would become a world champion from the bloodline. That's the only thing I can see in perpetuity that would make sense about Jay winning the title, because he's not the hardest beat in the thing.
Yeah, I don't think he'll feud with Jimmy. I actually see them getting back to the tag team division at some point. So,
man, I've been talking your ear off about stuff. I know you want to get to like results, so let's talk about it.
There's not a whole lot. Kind of reviewing everything. I know Backlash from your opinion was actually fairly blah, right? You were pretty mad about it. I actually thought Backlash was what I would expect from. I don't think Backlash to me is one of the really like big PLEs. Like it's kind of like that. We got to have something, so we give the people something. I didn't think there was anything amazing. I did think the Becky Lynch Lyra Valkyria match did a lot for Lyra. A lot of the people enjoyed it. They did get that "This is awesome" chant. When the crowd is feeling it, they give you that chant. You know they're doing something right inside the ring. And I thought those girls did a good job. I don't know if like Triple H was trying to say it was like one of the best women's matches he's ever seen. And I was like, we just had that at WrestleMania, bro. Like Io, Bianca, and Rhea put on one of the best matches we've ever seen. Like this doesn't even like it's a good match, but it wasn't on that level. Like come on now. Let's not have recency bias. But again, at the end of the day, I think we talked about it before. This does a lot more for Lyra and trying to continue to lift Lyra up, which they really like Lyra. I know we don't. We're not like she's okay, but it doesn't help Becky any in this case. I felt like this was just really helping Lyra. This match was all about lifting up Lyra's popularity than it was Becky's. So, but I thought the match was good. Gunther and our boy Pat McAfee. I love Pat. I liked Pat as soon as he quit and he started doing podcasting. I was listening to him from the beginning. I actually thought he was better at the beginning than he has been when he got a little more corporate. He has gone. He's been a little bit more over the top again, being that kind of character. And I don't think he really needed that. He was always fun. He was always good at storytelling. He was always good at interviewing. He's a little more corporate now that he's with ESPN. As corporate as a guy like Pat McAfee can get.
Right, exactly.
But he was really good at the beginning. Him getting with Gunther, again, I think we talked about it. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm actually not sure like why Pat McAfee was like, yeah, man, I want to do this. I want to get in there with Gunther.
Right.
Like, I mean, he posted a photo of himself afterwards, and his chest is completely red. He said he was sore. He said everything was sore. His hips, his back, his chest, everything, his arms. I know he's in his late 30s, but he's always been a guy who's got more athleticism than you think from a punter. And for him to get, I thought they at least did a good job with Gunther. Beat the hell out of him. They still gave Pat McAfee some opportunities to look good and keep getting up off the canvas, right? He'd get smacked down and he'd get up. He'd kick Gunther. He'd do this, and then Gunther would chop him down again. I saw one of the chops Gunther gave him, and Pat Pat went straight like down faster than anything I've ever seen.
Right.
And so every time Gunther hit him, I posted on our social page, how much money would it take for you to stand in the ring and do a match with Gunther knowing he's going to chop the shit out of you?
$100. I said, I'm in it because I would just want to see if I could take it.
You're a real man, Ron. You're a real man.
Right.
Because I already know. Like, I'm like, man.
The only thing that I will say about Gunther and Pat McAfee match is that Gunther was like, I'm going to take you out, Pat. I'm going to make you hurt and all this stuff. And at the end of the match, he shakes his hand. Again, the story does.
He didn't shake his hand, but he did give him a, kind of like a bow of, hey, I respect you.
The blinds don't match the drapes, bro.
I didn't mind that though, because I felt like Gunther still. What we needed is for Gunther to look like a monster, and we needed Gunther to beat that ass. And we did he look like a monster though? Well, Pat
McAfee's a commentator,
right?
You know what I mean?
Which again, and again, I think this comes back to Pat McAfee can give you a little bit more than the normal commentator. Michael Cole gets in there, it looks really bad. Pat McAfee actually has some chops. Pat McAfee has a wrestling ring at his home. Like he's all about it. So he's got more than you think. At the end of the day, Gunther needed to look strong, and I think we accomplished that. Now I still don't know what the next step for Gunther is.
Right.
I actually think, again, I'd like to see him get into that undisputed championship picture, because I think he could do it, and I think it would be great we've had baby faces hold that title for a while now. Cody had it for a year. We've got Cena's, I guess, a heel now, but we know in the back he's still a face. Like,
well, Roman Reigns held it for 3.5 years, so we've had a bad guy hold it for 3.5 years. So it's time to have some faces hold it.
But it's funny though, because I had never I don't know. I don't ever think of him as a bad guy, really. To me, the tribal chief.
You got a Roman crush?
No, not at all.
Are you holding ones up?
I'll hold up one. I'll give some respect. I think Roman has done a lot for the stock price of WWE. It was $40 when he took over and started becoming champ. It's up to 160 something now. So, I mean, they've done something right in that regard. But and that's why Johncena actually says. Johncena said that I think it was on the Shannon Sharp podcast before he came back. It was last year. He did like a full hour-and-a-half interview. It's great. Talks a lot about life and he's very introspective and how he's changed. It's a great interview if you ever go and watch it. But he talks about Roman Reigns is the greatest of all time. And he says, literally, he's like, he carried the company for 5 years. And he's put the company somewhere it's never been. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm pretty sure John Cena's got a lot of shares of TKO. And I'm sure he's probably looking at his account going, that ain't so bad,
Thank you,
man.
Roman Reigns. Thank you, Roman Reigns.
So,
as we're doing these wrap-up shows and everything like that, everybody that's watching, it's going to have different flavor for different things. So you're going to just tune in, and there's going to be different times. I've been watching wrestling for 41 years. There's parts of the new era that I don't like. There's parts of it that I love. I love the fact that they have women's wrestling being prominent right now. In a lot of regards right now, I would say I like the women's wrestling more than I like the men's wrestling, because you're seeing the up and coming women come up into and battle. And I look forward to what it is that they're going to bring right now with Roxanne Perez coming up, who her nickname is the Prodigy. I'm looking to see what she really evolves into as the Prodigy. Booker T's girl, Stephanie Vaquer. She's already been North American champion and NXT champion. Which championship is she going to take in WWE? When is she going to fight Rhea Ripley? Blah, 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 blah. When are all those things going to happen? Bianca Belair, like, when is she going to come back after WrestleMania? Like, how are all these things going to start to materialize?
So that's one of my predictions. In Tampa, they're doing a whole like weekend takeover in Tampa. They've got like SmackDown or Saturday Night Main Event. They've got WWE Battleground, I think it's called. Then they have Raw, and then I think they have NXT as well. I think Battleground is maybe the NXT event down there. I know Stephanie is facing Jordynne Grace. Stephanie is going to lose the NXT title to Jordynne Grace. You heard it here first. and she will no longer be on NXT. She will be main roster. The pop she got from the 2 times she came out were there's nothing she can do in NXT anymore. There's nothing. She is main roster. I actually she was a downloadable character as of yesterday. I have her now. I haven't perfected getting the Devil's Kiss in yet, but I'm gonna figure that move out. And then I also got Julia and Stephanie were both on this one. Roxanne was already in the game from the start. They're awesome, man. They're so fun to play with in the game. It's great. I'm so excited for those girls. I agree with you wholeheartedly. The women's division right now is so much more interesting and exciting than the men's division. And I don't even think that's a hot take. I just think it's a fact.
Yes. We're getting close to time, so I want to make a quick announcement to everybody. So for those of you that don't know, I've received a kidney transplant 2 years ago, and unfortunately it rejected. And I'm going to be getting another kidney transplant coming up here in approximately 3 weeks. I'll be June 10th is the date. So for the reason why I'm bringing this up right now is for those of you that are watching this commentary, whether you suffer from kidney disease or if you're somebody that wants to help somebody with kidney disease, it's something that's affecting so many people around the country. There's about 100,000 people on the waiting list, and that's just the people that have gone to the doctor and found out. So many more people that don't go to the doctor and don't find out and they spit on it. Take care of yourself. Get out there and get to know about what's going on with your health. Be an advocate for yourself. And if you can, and if you're able and you want to, help out another if you can. Kidneys we get 2 of them and you only need 1. So that's my word of the day from that standpoint. Pinky, what you got before we close out?
Man, I'm excited for you, brother. I hope that all goes well. We'll definitely be rooting for you. Let's close out with, hey, guys, enjoy your family, your friends. Hopefully you enjoy wrestling as much as we do. We love it. And again, like, comment, subscribe. Hit us up on the Facebook page, Sports Nonsense and Whiskey. We'll be creating our own sometime soon. And again, at the end of the day, if you don't like it, we got 2 words for you. Suck it! Oh, guys, have a great week. We'll see you next week.